is this rooted in our evolution from just the way the seasons worked, and I guess the way, I don't know, I'm thinking about like how we evolved to want to function better in routine. So immediately, like, I went to like the hunting, waking up at dawn and going hunting, and then coming back at as soon as the light starts to turn blue or something.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, I think um, I tie a lot of this, and maybe it's my nature because my parents both survived Auschwitz, and so there's a very survival-oriented understructure to a lot of my thinking. But I think that when you look at this is how humans, a lot of what we're doing deals with surviving in this environment that we're in. And you look at other species, they have quite a bit of routine and regularities. And, there's reasons you're hunting in the morning because you're the predator, and the prey is trying to stay away from you. And those are not the common times, that occurs. So you've seen species develop, different routines and different rhythms through the time, through the, you could watch National Geographic, right, and see everything you need to understand about other species. But humans, we're not. We may be the top of the predator, you know, group, but I think we've evolved with this because this is the life as we understand it and perceive, and how our life works. And but we too have an evolution as humans. And many things have changed over our time. Even 100 years, what poverty was is very different today than 100 years. I was reading a book, Factfulness, by Rosling, which points out to how far the world has come from how we define poverty to today. And he go to the one of the large international conferences, and he'd ask some of the great minds and economists in the world these 13 questions of how they perceive the world. And they got most of those questions wrong. Questions like, what percentage of young women do you think are vaccinated in the world? Or something like that. And they didn't realize how high vaccination is in the world. So I'm just giving you little factoids here, but the point is that we've been evolving, and one asks often the question for me: are we devolving? What's happening with this technology and digital age? I chair a company in the business side that's an artificial intelligence company called Potentia Analytics, and I talk a little bit about artificial intelligence in my book, and also in an article that I believe was in Forbes magazine about, will our artificial intelligence tell us how to do our best routines? Because now we can monitor our bodies and what we do. And so if we can monitor our bodies and then do predictive analytics, predict where we're best, then we could be told, basically what to do. And so when you ask this question about how I think about, how do we evolve into this, and I think obviously this is a fairly philosophical discussion of sorts. I'm not sure it's a necessarily overly practical discussion, but you have to ask the question if we're evolving or devolving as humans. And humans often have gone to that point. Now we have so much information now. The term that I like to use, and I've seen only once before that I've used, is called techmanity, the intersection between technology and humanity. I've seen it written actually in the financial literature, looking at companies that are in that intersection. Those are companies now with our ability to have big data, genomics, artificial intelligence. We're really changing, how quickly our knowledge in healthcare and otherwise is occurring. And now we're really moving to a very different point about what some people consider our thoughts that we can be immortal. As some people say, although the stats in the United States are a little different, say that if you're born today, you have a 50% chance of living to be 100 because of the what's happened in our knowledge with these types of in these type of areas to keep us living longer and keep us healthier. So there are some good questions about, are we evolving or devolving, because some of this technology is really distracting us from often our routines or addicting us, right? Like there's quite a bit written about the addictions of social media, the addiction to your cell phones, to some of these forms of technology. And it's all been exacerbated by COVID because we haven't been able to be social convivial animals. We've been apart from each other. And we've utilized this technology to try to keep connected. And so is that connection removing a certain humanness from us? Anyway, although that's a long, a lot of thoughts there, and I apologize, Eric, if there are a lot of thoughts, but I think
that's what this is for.
yeah, but I think that really, that we are wired for regularity and routine. And my disruptive thought is that we could probably benefit from it a lot more now. We've learned a little bit about how important our environment is recently. With COVID, people suddenly, because they're always running out, suddenly they go to their home and they go, God, I've been stuck here for like a month. I said, why haven't I thrown away that old couch? That couch is like, I haven't never paid attention, but now that I'm in this environment, I want, so people are paying more attention to their environment. People have been disrupted to have to redo their routines at home and otherwise. They've had to kind of redirect them. I talk a little bit about collateral damage that's happened, both, health-wise from the COVID impacts and psychological damage that's happened. There's, upticks in homelessness. There's upticks in mental health disease. There's a lot of things that have happened. Obviously, people that have lost their jobs, but there's also been some collateral value. And I think part of that collateral value is learning that, like when our time bubbles burst, like I like to talk about them, that we intrinsically know in order to survive how to try to recreate stable environments and routines and survive in that regard. So that's a little bit of what's been happening, today. And I do believe that that we're being interrupted, disrupted, and we have to be sensible that it's not just the content. The contents is your choice and can be important, whether it's exercise or on the wellness side, or what you eat or how you prepare yourself to perform. We need to focus more on trying to create regularity in our own and routines in our lives.